Alright everyone, welcome back to this war of mine.
Is it really your war, though? Is the war not all of our wars?
This war of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
This little war of mine.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, you know how we've been largely successful up to this point?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Time for things to change.
There comes a point, eventually, where you start running out of the multitude of supplies.
We've got like we've got more than like 3/4 of our places like untouched though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are because to go there you have to either steal or kill to get the stuff there, which comes with its own problems, not least of which are morale penalties. And, of course, the obvious danger.
Okay, I was wondering if this game handled, like, how this game handled, like, PTSD and stuff.
It depends on the person, but generally speaking, stealing and killing will start to give you morale penalties, which then translate into extra status effects and more risk of people leaving and things like that.
It's cool. You just need to have Solana just constantly keep playing guitar all the time.
That's the idea, right?
Does actively playing the guitar do anything? I don't actually know.
It does. It provides a passive incremental morale boost.
Okay.
Which
Also, what's that hourglass at the top there?
That top there one there, that is the animal trap.
Oh, right.
And
it's just waiting for animals to show up.
Yeah, the reason it doesn't have a progress bar around it is because it's variable length.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Eventually it will change to a pickup icon.
So we're making a big old pot of poverty soup.
Yeah, I also noticed that you're brewing up like 9,000 gallons of whiskey.
That's not even whiskey. That's the pure alcohol still.
Oh, you're distilling the whiskey again.
Is that
okay?
Are you making 14 pure alcohols?
Yep.
Man, we need Franco to come like every day.
Yeah, once Franco comes, it's fucking Christmas.
It doesn't even go as far as you hope.
Oh yes, it's good. It's good. I'll give you a raw meat and component for it.
That's not too far off.
It's very
but that
good.
said, we do have 14 of them, and no one is a drinker, so.
Yeah, well, I don't know who's gonna drink like pure alcohol.
You can. With that top right icon. That top right icon on the fridge.
Have you never had Everclear?
I actually haven't.
Oh no, Bruno is sad.
I had absinthe once.
Yeah, so did I. I didn't like... The sad thing is, I hated licorice at the time, so absinthe being, like, more licoricey than licorice was really unappealing to me, but now I kind of like black licorice, so... Maybe I'll try it again someday.
I just had it just to have it, but yeah, it's, I had it at an actual, like, at what was an actual speakeasy.
Oh, nice.
What do we got?
Oh. Alright, cigarettes and tobacco are of high price right now. And it's starting to get a bit cooler.
Good thing you patched all the holes in your walls before it started raining.
I like to think that the weather announcer is some, like, rich
this
guy
is the problem.
living in another city.
It
he
seems
has to be like
it seems like the Weather Channel is some centralized location in the country that isn't being affected by war.
It's some location just somewhere in Serbia or something, or just outside the capital.
So we have a problem now.
You're out of wood?
Nah, that's not the main problem. The main problem is it just mentioned that fighting has cut off access to various areas.
Oh yeah, didn't it do that before?
It said it was going to. The cutoff has begun.
I thought the cutoff happened last game, or last episode. We lost like half the places.
Oh, yeah, you're right, actually.
Wasn't it?
Nah, it hasn't begun snowing yet. It's still 64 degrees out.
That's true.
Or 18 Celsius.
It started snowing, and then the snow immediately turned into rain.
Let's make some more alcohol.
Also, I noticed that Solana's playing a different song than she did last time.
I think she has a couple. Just to keep it a little bit varied up, considering most of the time it's ideal to have her playing.
Right. Well, I think that's a psychological thing, right? Like, if there's a loop that is longer than like 35 seconds, then you can't distinguish that it's a loop.
Right.
Huh.
I can't remember the length of time, but it's...
So it depends on what you're talking about. Musical loops have a longer requirement on them. If it's just a blank noise loop, it's the whole 7 plus or minus 2 seconds thing for the short-term memory span buffer.
There must be limits to that, right, though? Because obviously eventually you get to a point where it's like, oh god, I've heard this song 1,000 times before.
Yeah, there is a limit, but like with white noise, if you loop it on a 10-second loop, it becomes almost impossible to tell.
I mean, white noise should be, like, basically indistinguishable to begin with.
That's the hope, right?
It's kind of just randomness.
Bruno's sad.
He's very sad. But he is a good cook.
We should put a chair next to the guitar.
Nah.
Okay.
We don't have any chairs.
Yeah,
we chopped them up for firewood.
You don't have any... At this point, you almost don't have any lumber.
We've got 45 planks of wood. We don't have any fuel is the problem.
Okay, you can't use lumber as fuel?
You can, but you have to convert it on a 1-to-1 basis.
Okay.
Wood is probably the thing we are the most,
You're the biggest surplus on?
Yeah.
Now you just turned all of your water into distilled alcohol.
Right.
Oh, so you can actually grow tobacco in your
kind of
in your garden.
You can make bad tobacco.
Yeah, you convert your herbs into bad tobacco.
Okay, so you're just making clove cigarettes at this point, like a fucking hipster.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Basically.
All right, so here's our reality.
Cool. We've lost most of the good stuff.
We've lost most of the stuff in general.
Don't think of it like that. We've lost opportunities and found some more.
I don't think the warehouse was open before.
The warehouse is relatively new, yes.
And yeah, we're just kind of waiting for Sniper Junction to open back up so you can grab like your 9,000 supplies you have stocked there.
Yeah. There's a decent hump of
It's 87% cleared out in Old Town, but there's a huge amount of weapons, apparently.
Do we ever... we did find a shotgun there, didn't we?
Yeah, but normally it only shows you what's still at the area, not anything you've taken out.
Oh, okay.
We found a guy there. Maybe he has the weapons.
That's why, probably. It counts the equipment of people who were there in your totals.
He's just loaded for bear.
Alright, back to the looted gas station.
Oh yeah, now that we have ways to get into all the rest of the... Actually, what's even left here?
There's a little bit of this and that. I've forgotten the saw blades, I think.
Yeah, we didn't take any saw.
Although...
What's a rat? It's not a rat.
It's a dude.
This is Milos's grave. The person to whom the letter on the first floor was written. And you might notice that the body here is gone.
Alright, I forgot there was a body here first time.
That's not quite as dark as the siege of Leningrad? No, Stalingrad? A battle occurred at one and a siege occurred at the other.
Battle of Stalingrad, yeah.
The siege of Leningrad, when people died, they left them where they fell, because anyone who took the effort to try to move a body would typically die of starvation or exhaustion.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that was, talking about other games in here. I remember that was a thing in the director's commentary on Left 4 Dead. Was that anytime you find bodies in that game, they're just covered in a blanket because of, you know, all the apocalyptic stuff happening. That's like it suggested that's the most that they could do for somebody who died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it sort of distinguishes them thematically from the hundreds of corpses you're making.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's enough that they're not, like, gray.
Yeah.
The tone of that game wasn't completely consistent.
I have a
Or
dearest
nearly.
friend who always worried a lot. One day she called me, terrified, saying there was a riot outside. The secessionists were inciting the crowd to burn the town hall. I told her not to worry, and I was right. Nothing came of it. This time. But even when the riots and fights became everyday news, I kept assuring her it would all blow over soon.
Someday, maybe.
Oh, James, you were telling me a little bit about the karma system the other day.
Oh, yes. So it's a little bit early to talk about that, but we can, give a hint of it.
Yeah.
Basically, at the end of a game of This War of Mine, there is an ending system that shows what happens to each of the survivors after, however it ends for you.
Sure.
And if they die, they die. It's the same. But, one of the major factors that shows how the scenario ends for a character is their karma rating, which is affected by how many people they kill or how much they steal.
Right.
If they have very low karma, there's a decent shot that they'll die or end up with an unhappy ending after the events of the war.
Just a bitter ending instead of a bittersweet ending.
Alright, I'm finally building that armchair.
Nice.
To replace the one that you axed apart.
No, this one's an armchair. That was just
Yeah.
a chair.
Yeah, the wooden chair got chopped up.
It's
Replaced with an identical wooden chair.
think of it as a week-long upgrade. We have an armchair, but we lack chairs.
Well, you only have 2 chairs in a house with 4 people.
Yeah, and the guitar chair doesn't count as a chair.
Yeah, for some reason, it's the best way to do it is one of each type of chair.
So there were, you guys were mentioning, or cigarettes were mentioned in the radio report, and that reminded me of a story I tried to tell a couple episodes ago, and then got interrupted by something happening in the game. But I was talking a couple times about the cigarette smuggling route used by the Russian mob, and one of the things was that the cigarette smuggling started before the siege of Sarajevo, even though it had to go through Serbia and into Montenegro in order to work, and it continued through the siege of Sarajevo, even though it had to go through Serbia, which now had a lot of very strict embargoes on it to stop the war. But one of the smugglers found a way to get around this by finding that you can land a plane in Serbia during wartime, during the wartime blockades, if the plane had to land for technical reasons.
I see. Clever.
So they bought 2 huge cargo planes that they just basically filled with cigarettes, and scheduled them on a flight that would take them near Serbian airspace, and then claimed a technical failure, which allowed them to land on a Serbian airstrip. And during the hour or so that they had to repair the problem, the entire plane's worth of cigarettes was offloaded.
Of course.
Oh, that's rough.
And one of my favorite stories about smuggling is during the Cold War era, there was a group of smugglers that went back and forth across the Berlin Wall through the checkpoints. They took bicycles and loaded them with 100-pound bags of rice, which were a common means of smuggling by hiding things deep inside the rice.
Mm-hmm.
So every day they'd come through, I think they'd go over to the west side, and then they'd come back to the east side with these bikes loaded with 200-pound bags of rice on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd get stopped every time, and the guards would have to exhaustively search through the 100-pound bags of rice. And they'd always find them empty, because it turns out what they were smuggling was bicycles.
Right. That's actually like turned into like a popular anecdote for like. I think I've heard that story a couple different times with wheelbarrows and garbage trucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's often the method of transport.
I didn't realize that the bicycles thing was the like originator.
I mean, for all I know,
It could be apocryphal as well.
Yeah, it's probably a method as old as but probably a method that exceeds human history, but not human law.
Yeah. Man, I remember one of my friends was telling me about a hack that they engineered that was actually based on the bicycle smuggling method, but I don't remember I can't remember how they actually employed it because I don't know how you transfer that into a non-physical medium.
So here's me looking at the locations and realizing there's almost no components left.
What do you need components for? Is that electronic stuff?
You need for everything.
Components are the boxes of crap that make everything.
Okay.
Yeah, you need it for every upgrade. You need it for lots of parts, for filters, for
Oh, geez, and you've been burning through them to make filters for the water purifier.
Yeah, so we might be about to enter the lean months. And now we're at the brothel.
On the plus side, Franco tends to have a large stock of them, and he also doesn't value them very highly.
Right, unless it's winter.
Does he change his values?
He does.
I didn't know that.
Especially on wood and fuel. It's trash, mostly. Hey. Among it lie a fashionable handbag torn as if someone ripped it open, not sparing any thought to a damaged zipper, a tiny frame photo of a young man, and a pocket notebook. Whoever tossed these here wasn't the owner.
Of course.
Yeah.
And here's me cursing myself for not bringing along a preemptive saw blade.
Oops.
That's okay, there's still exploring to be done.
You should just bring a saw blade everywhere.
Yeah. I want that inventory space. I want it. So now I'm gonna go down and gaze forlornly through the bars.
Look, there's a pile of crap and a desk.
Looks like you need to also bring a shovel.
No, that's a pile of collectibles.
Yeah, that was background junk.
Okay.
That was background trash.
No, yeah, I can't think of what the icon looks like, but there's a different icon for the piles that block you and you need shovels for.
Gotcha. It's just like that,
most pointless barricade.
Yeah, is it even blocking anything?
Not if you go down the stairs and up the stairs, you go right past it.
Okay, so this is just to get into the,
It's a shortcut that saves you, like, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
At a sprint?
Hey, in a run, that's all the time in the world. Also, that barricade is useless because of that giant hole in the wall.
Well, I guess, but we live in a 2D world, Matt.
Yeah, it's a background hole. It cannot be accessed except by invaders.
Yeah. Ooh, movement.
Oh man,
2 people at least,
or some really super active rats.
Or a lot of rats.
I choose not to think about it. After all, there's all this stuff for the taking in this half.
Ooh, a cover. This can have good things.
So is your guy like being out in the rain? Does that like affect him at all, or is it just like atmosphere?
That's atmosphere.
Okay.
And I think it's reflective of the fact that it's going to get cold soon, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
We're in the rainy season. Alright, we've about exhausted the left half of this zone.
Now we just have to go to the danger half.
It's fine, there's a trader.
Just take the highway to the danger zone.
But why would we go talk to the trader? Because apparently I've lost my mind.
Apparently we're gonna try to climb this fire escape.
Ooh, more
Actually,
junk.
wait. Why are we questioning what that movement is in the bedroom in the brothel?
Yeah, I mean,
between 2 people.
Don't worry about it.
Why did none of us figure that out?
She
Oh,
knows how
come
to
on,
handle
man.
a man.
Come on, dude. Don't be that guy. Also, don't be the guy who searches exhaustively this part of the zone. There's a lot of guys I don't want him to be.
Also, don't exhaustively search for pizzones.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be a disappointment either way if you try that, right?
Pretty much. I mean, it's only just over a pound of toppings.
Yes, I know it is, Matt. That is how they branded it. Alright, that's about everything that's going to be easy to get around here.
Yeah,
That's
and
noise.
You got your inventory space filled up about twice.
Yeah, probably.
What is the thing next to the time mean?
On which side?
The things with the 1?
That is the amount of bullets I have in my inventory.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Currently
I
no
have-
gun to shoot them with, but
Yeah, I just happen to have one that I picked up. Okay, so we made a nice little haul here. Time for me to be an idiot again. Could have died there.
Just steal everything.
just
Oh, so is
sneak
that
past that guy.
Hello.
So you're like just entering into gang territory now?
Yep. He's willing to trade though. This is Piotr.
Good thing you brought anything to trade.
You can generally take the stuff you find and trade if you need to.
Yeah. I could grab some of that crap I picked up, maybe sell it off.
Buy that broken rifle.
We already have another broken rifle, and we're just using all the...
Hey,
He doesn't like that.
hey, get out.
That's right.
There's no way to actually use the brothel or anything, is there?
Not as far as I know.
I guess that's good, and also it's inaccurate, but probably good that they didn't do, like, morale boosts.
Yeah, I think it would change the tone of the game in a way that's not helpful.
Later.
Yeah.
I'm sure those sort of things do happen, though.
And it's a bit hard to tell because of the graininess of the opening monologues, but on the map screen it mentions that most of the workers there are mothers looking to feed their children.
Right, yeah, that's pretty much the same story for all of the Ukrainian sex slaves that were smuggled into Eastern Europe. Really, the reason, if I remember correctly, the reason that I think they're smuggled into Germany, but the reason that happened was that after the fall of the Union, just like people didn't have money, and so women would just sit by the side of the road because that's all they had. And so some enterprising people realized that they could exploit that a lot.
Let's make some band-aids. Franco likes those.
And it's also only 62. I know sometimes it gives the temperature in centigrade.
That is my fault. You can click on it to make it go back and forth.
Okay.
Every once in a while I'll get impatient and start clicking it back and forth a little.
I don't know. When you need bandages, you really need bandages.
That's okay. I'm sure... I can't even finish the sentence.
I tried the Anton and Sveta run. That was not a fun run.
Who are Anton and Sveta?
The worst
Anton,
two characters in the game.
Anton is the mathematician. Sveta is the school principal.
Yeah,
They
both of them,
offer no outright skills.
They have 8 inventory slots. In that scenario, not one other survivor ever joined. Sveta spent the
God.
majority of my run laid up, lethally wounded from constant raider attacks.
Funnily enough, though, they do have some hidden benefits.
Yeah, I sure didn't feel like it.
Yeah, no. Sveta has some bonuses in the DLC. She's really good at consoling children. And Anton doesn't give a shit about morality.
Oh, I see. Even though he was nominated for the Fields Medal?
Saveda cares a lot, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that run eventually devolved into me having to guard with Anton every night. Just trying to keep Zveda alive. I did make it through, barely, with both of them.
Nice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Not that
you got
many.
A lot for, you got a lot for that,
Yeah, bandages, guns, and medication.
Oh, you got some diamonds, too.
It won't do. Try harder.
Diamond's not even worth 2 hunks of meat these days. Diamond only worth 1 meat.
No, it's very generous. Nope, not enough.
Do you want some more pure alcohol?
You got a lot of parts. A lot of the electronic components.
Yeah, I think more than I'll ever use.
They're just kind of laying around.
You could definitely use them all up, because you need, like... Let's see, you need 4 for the security door, and 4 for the upgrades to most of the different things.
Yeah. I still have some kicking around my stockpiles outside the base, though.
Oh, you need to buy some bullets.
I'm good, I have a bullet.
A bullet.
Oh, so you've been really kind of burning those up in raider attacks.
Yeah, that's more or less how
I
it
noticed
goes.
we haven't had a lot of raider attacks recently, probably because of the bullets you used.
Yeah, it varies from time to time.
I wonder if that actually does affect it, is like, oh, if you use a gun, then raiders are less likely to attack in the future. Until they find out that your gun doesn't do anything anymore. Like, maybe I'm reading too deeply into the metagame.
Maybe. As far as I know, it's generally implied that it's a new group every time.
Right. I mean, I figured it's a new group every time, but even then, like,
yeah, maybe you get a reputation.
Rumor gets around. Yeah.
They talk about it on the ThiefNet.
You've become the house that gives out shitty treats.
There's no anything net. I'm not sure there was
bullets.
before the war started.
Probably not in Eastern Europe, but because 1992, that's the BBS days. 1994, 95 is when the World Wide Web really came into, like, common use. Prior to that, it was all dial-in networks. A fact that I learned from reading a lot of Kevin Mitnick books.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you building now?
We're building a heater.
Oh, that's not a bad call.
No. Put somewhere useful.
Right next to the armchair.
No, next to the rat trap, so they're attracted to the heat.
So does the heater actually have like an aura, or does it just apply like a whole house effect?
I believe it applies the whole house effect, but I've been wrong before on things like that. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, you actually have multiple books.
Yeah, we have like 6 books. Although I have had games where I've gotten upwards of like 30.
At the point do you just start like selling them? Are they worth that much?
Not especially much. You can also turn them into fuel if you need it. There's one really handy event where a guy comes by and says, hey, I need to move. Can I give you my book collection to hold on to for after the war? And he just, if you accept, he gives you 15 books.
You're like, great, this will keep me warm for a single night.
So, remember how I bought those 28 components off of Franco? They're gone now.
We spent them.
I spent them on
yeah,
a
but that's
heater.
okay, because you got 46 components, right?
I'm out of components now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those go fast.
Building anything really takes it out of you. Heater's no exception.
Yeah, we didn't even get it upgraded yet.
You'd think
Yeah.
like the heater would be kind of the easiest part to... would be kind of the easiest thing to build. You just need a garbage can.
Well, you don't want the whole
And, like-
place to fill with smoke.
Okay, yeah. I guess if you're trying to build like a Franklin stove.
Any news?
And I guess on the opposite side of this, your guys can build a radio.
Yeah. I think it's more like they find radios, but...
I believe your football player built a radio.
Well, you know, it's 1992. What else you gonna learn in home ec class?
Honestly, given we don't actually know where he's from, but that was one of the things that I mentioned before was that Bulgaria actually became home to a lot of smugglers because, as I mentioned before, the U.S. when in the USSR they divided their nation states up into making, into each nation state would make a certain thing, and so they picked the very rural Bulgaria as being their electronics powerhouse. And so Bulgaria, after the fall of the Soviet Union, Bulgaria basically became, Bulgaria basically became a nation of smugglers because they were the UN prevented them from exporting all of their fruits and cheeses and stuff because other countries that make more of them wanted to sell more. And then also their electronics were shit and couldn't compare with American or Japanese electronics. So they had no means to make money, so they just went into crime because that's all they had.
So, things are looking pretty optimistic right now. Are you guys ready for all that to change?
Yeah, let's bring on the next episode.
I was expecting
Yeah.
this to be an uplifting experience.
Really? Really?
Yeah, look at Pablo's face. That's the face of
Of a champion.
See you next time, Internet.